everyone. Friendships aren't built through small talk. They are built through shared moments. Think about the people you feel closest to. What connects you isn't just how long you've known them, but what you've been through together. It's the inside jokes, the spontaneous adventures, the difficult conversations, and the times they stood by you when life was tough. Friendship isn't something that just happens. It's not luck, coincidence, or something we stumble upon. As children, friendships seem effortless. You meet someone on the playground, share a laugh, and suddenly you're best friends. There's no overthinking, no hesitation, just a natural flow of connection. But as we grow older, life gets in the way. We get busy, we move cities, we focus on careers, family, and personal goals. Somewhere along the way, we begin to believe that making new friends is harder, that it should just happen if it's meant to be. But here's the truth. Meaningful friendships don't just appear. They are built intentionally, consistently, and with vulnerability. In adulthood, friendships require effort. They don't develop overnight, and they certainly don't thrive on convenience. Think about the people you admire, the friendships you long for. None of those connections happen without someone making a conscious choice to invest in them. Yet many of us hesitate. We tell ourselves we're too busy, we fear rejection, we assume others already have enough friends. So we wait. We wait for the perfect moment, the right circumstances, or for someone else to take the first step. But waiting doesn't build friendships, effort does. Effort means reaching out first, even when it feels awkward. It means checking in, making plans, and following through. It means showing up, not just when it's convenient, but when it matters. Relationships thrive on consistency. The people we feel closest to are not necessarily the ones we've known the longest, but the ones who repeatedly show up in our lives. The ones who send a message just to say, thinking of you. The ones who remember your important moments. The ones who don't let distance or time create a gap too wide to cross. Yet, consistency alone isn't enough. Friendships deepen when we allow ourselves to be seen. Vulnerability is the foundation of true connection. We live in a world where social media highlights perfection, where we curate the best versions of ourselves for the world to see. But friendships aren't built on perfection. They're built on honesty. It's easy to have surface-level conversations, to stay within the comfort of small talk. But real connection happens when we go beyond that, when we share our fears, our struggles, our dreams. The strongest friendships are formed in the moments when we admit we don't have it all figured out, when we say, I'm struggling, and someone replies, me too. Yet, being vulnerable is risky. It requires trust, and trust takes time. It's natural to fear rejection or judgment. But without vulnerability, friendships remain shallow. The truth is, people crave realness. We are drawn to those who are genuine, who are willing to say, I don't have all the answers, or I've been through that too. When we open up, we create space for others to do the same, and that is where true friendship begins. But friendship isn't just about deep conversations. It's also about shared experiences. Some of the strongest bonds are formed not in moments of serious discussion, but in laughter, adventure, and simply doing life together. And whether it's grabbing coffee, joining a club, or going on a trip, shared experiences create the foundation for lasting friendships. They give us stories, inside jokes, and memories that reinforce connection. The challenge is to be intentional about creating those experiences, rather than waiting for them to happen. One of the biggest barriers to making friends as an adult is the belief that it should feel effortless, like it did when we were younger. But anything meaningful requires effort. We don't expect a great career to just fall into our laps. We don't assume a healthy body comes without work. So why do we assume deep, lasting friendships should require nothing from us? If anything, the friendships we build as adults can be even stronger because they are chosen. They are not based on proximity or convenience, but on shared values, mutual respect, and the willingness to invest in one another. So if you find yourself feeling disconnected, if you're longing for deeper friendships, ask yourself, are you waiting for friendship to happen, or are you willing to build it? Are you showing up, making the effort, being consistent? Are you allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be seen for who you truly are? Friendship isn't something that appears out of nowhere. It's something we create, piece by piece, choice by choice. And when we do, the reward is one of the most valuable things life has to offer, a connection that lasts, that supports, that enriches our lives in ways nothing else can. Friendship at its core is about giving. It's about showing up, being present, and offering kindness without keeping score. Yet many of us approach relationships with an unspoken expectation. What will I get in return? Will they text me back? Will they invite me out as often as I invite them? Will they remember my birthday like I remembered theirs? These thoughts are natural, but they create an invisible contract that can leave us feeling unfulfilled. The most meaningful friendships are not built on an exchange of favors. They are built on generosity, the willingness to give without expectation. When we shift our mindset from receiving to giving, everything changes. We begin to see relationships as something we contribute to rather than something we consume. We stop waiting for someone else to make the first move, and we take the initiative. We check in, not because we're hoping for a response, but because we genuinely care. We offer support not because we expect it to be reciprocated, but because being there for others is what real friendship is about. This shift creates a profound difference in the way people experience us. When someone senses that we are in their life not because of what they can offer us, but simply because we value them, trust grows. The irony is, the less we expect from others, the more fulfilling our relationships become. Think about the people in your life who make you feel truly valued. Chances are, they are the ones who give freely, who listen without waiting for their turn to speak, who show up even when it's inconvenient, who offer kindness with no strings attached. These are the people we cherish because they remind us of something rare in the world: unconditional support. If we want those kinds of friendships, we must first become that kind of friend. Generosity in friendship is not just about grand gestures, it's about the small things, a simple message to check in, remembering an important date, celebrating someone's wins without jealousy, offering words of encouragement. These moments, though small, accumulate into something meaningful. They create a foundation of trust, the kind of trust that makes people feel safe, seen, and valued. And the beautiful thing about generosity is that it has a ripple effect. When we show up for others without expectation, they in turn feel inspired to do the same. But giving without expectation does not mean allowing ourselves to be taken for granted. It doesn't mean pouring into relationships where the effort is consistently one-sided. Generosity is about offering kindness from a place of abundance, not depletion. If a friendship leaves us feeling drained, unappreciated, or unseen, it may be a sign to redirect our energy. True generosity in friendship is about investing in relationships that are built on mutual care, even if that care is expressed in different ways. One of the greatest obstacles to leading with generosity is fear. The fear that if we give too much without receiving, we will end up alone or unappreciated. But generosity is not about giving away parts of ourselves in the hope of being chosen. It is about showing up with an open heart, knowing that the right friendships will recognize and appreciate our presence. The truth is, people remember how we make them feel more than what we do for them. And when we approach relationships with genuine kindness, we attract people who value and reciprocate that energy. There is also a deeper reward in giving, one that goes beyond just building relationships. Generosity shifts our perspective from scarcity to abundance. Instead of seeing relationships as transactional, we begin to see them as opportunities to contribute. Instead of focusing on what's missing, we appreciate what we have. And in doing so, we find ourselves surrounded by deeper, more meaningful connections, not because we demanded them, but because we created the space for them to exist. So rather than asking, what can I get from this friendship, consider asking, how can I show up for this person today? Instead of waiting for someone to reach out, be the one who reaches out. Instead of measuring how much someone gives back, focus on giving in a way that feels fulfilling to you. The friendships that matter most are the ones built not on obligation, but on mutual care. And when we lead with generosity, we create the kind of connections that don't just last, but that truly enrich our lives. Friendship is not built on convenience, it is built on experiences. The strongest relationships in our lives are not the ones formed through casual conversations or fleeting interactions, but the ones forged through shared moments. Times of joy, challenge, adventure, and even struggle. Think about the people you feel closest to. What connects you isn't just how long you've known them, but what you've been through together. It's the road trips, the late night talks, the unexpected laughter in the middle of chaos, and the times they stood by you when life was difficult. These experiences create the foundation of trust, understanding, and deep connection. Yet as adults, we often forget this. We assume friendships will develop naturally, like they did when we were younger. But when we were kids, we didn't just meet people, We did things together. We played, explored, and created memories. It wasn't about sitting around discussing our interests. It was about experiencing life side by side. The same principle applies to adult friendships. Small talk can open the door, but it is shared experiences that solidify the bond. And these experiences don't just happen by accident. We must create them intentionally. Building strong friendships means making space for shared moments, no matter how busy life gets. It means going beyond the usual, let's catch up sometime, and actually following through. It's easy to assume that deep connections require grand, life-changing experiences, but the truth is, even the simplest activities can create lasting bonds. Grabbing coffee regularly, joining a workout class together, starting a project, traveling, volunteering, anything that involves doing something rather than just talking is an opportunity to strengthen a relationship. Consistency matters. The friendships that feel strongest are often the ones where shared experiences become a habit, not just a one-time event. There is something powerful about navigating challenges together. Adversity has a way of revealing who we truly are, and when we go through struggles alongside someone, we develop a deeper sense of trust and connection. Whether it's helping a friend through a difficult time, working together toward a goal, or simply supporting each other through life's ups and downs, these moments create a bond that can't be formed through words alone. We remember the people who showed up when we needed them most. We remember the ones who stood by us even when things were messy or difficult. And in turn, those friendships become unshakable. But friendship isn't just about struggle, it's also about joy. Some of the strongest bonds are formed in moments of shared laughter, excitement, and adventure. There is something about experiencing something new with another person that makes the connection more meaningful. It could be something as simple as trying a new restaurant, exploring a new city, taking a class together, or even engaging in a shared hobby. These experiences create stories that turn into inside jokes, nostalgic memories, and a sense of we've been through this together. The more we create these moments, the stronger the friendship becomes. One of the biggest barriers to deep friendships in adulthood is the illusion of connection. Social media gives us the sense that we're keeping up with people's lives, but scrolling through someone's updates is not the same as experiencing life with them. Real connection happens in real time, in real moments. Sending a text is good, meeting up is better. Doing something together is what truly makes a friendship last. The key is to prioritize shared experiences rather than passive interaction. Friendship is not just about having people to talk to, it's about having people to experience life with. It requires effort, initiative, and a willingness to step outside of routine. But the reward is worth it. The strongest friendships are not the ones based on how often we check in or how much we have in common, but on the moments we've lived together. So if you want deeper friendships, don't just wait for them to happen. Create them, be intentional, show up, make plans, and build the kind of experiences that turn into lifelong bonds. In a world that constantly competes for our attention, being truly present has become rare. We are surrounded by distractions, our phones buzzing with notifications, our minds preoccupied with tasks, and our schedules packed with obligations. It's easy to be physically with someone, but mentally somewhere else. Yet the depth of our relationships is not determined by how many people we know, but by how deeply we engage with them. The most meaningful friendships are built not through occasional check-ins, but through moments of genuine presence. The kind where someone feels truly seen, heard, and valued. Being present is more than just showing up. It's about bringing our full attention to the moment, resisting the urge to multitask, and giving people the rare gift of undivided focus. Think about the times you have felt truly connected to someone. It's never because they glanced at their phone while you spoke or nodded absent-mindedly while thinking about something else. It's because they listened, really listened. They made you feel like in that moment, nothing else mattered but the conversation you were having. They weren't waiting for their turn to speak. They were engaged, responding with curiosity, empathy, and sincerity. That is the power of being present. When we are present, we make people feel valued. And that is what deepens friendships. It's not about saying the right things or offering perfect advice. It's about making people feel like their thoughts, emotions, and experiences matter. Many of us listen to respond, not to understand. We hear words, but we miss the emotions behind them. True connection comes when we listen with the intent to understand, to step into someone else's world, even if just for a moment. When we do this, we create a space where people feel safe to be themselves, to share their struggles and joys without fear of being dismissed or judged. Yet, being present is not just about listening. It's about eliminating the distractions that prevent us from fully engaging. Technology, while a great tool for staying connected, often pulls us away from real connection. How many times have we been at a dinner table where everyone is looking at their phones? How often do we half listen to someone while scrolling through a screen? These small moments add up, and over time they create distance rather than closeness. Choosing to put the phone down, to make eye contact, to be fully in the moment is a simple act, but it carries immense power. It sends the message, you matter. This moment matters. Beyond distractions, being present also means being emotionally available. It requires a willingness to engage, to ask thoughtful questions, to express interest in the other person's world. Too often, conversations remain surface level because we hesitate to go deeper. We fear being too intrusive, too vulnerable, or too invested. But connection happens when we allow ourselves to be open, when we show that we genuinely care. Sometimes, the most meaningful friendships are strengthened not by the big gestures, but by the simple act of asking, "How are you, really?" And then staying present for the answer. Presence is also about showing up, not just physically, but emotionally. It's about being there in the moments that matter, whether in times of celebration or struggle. A friend who shows up when things get tough, who remembers the little details, who prioritizes time together despite a busy schedule. These are the friendships that last. People don't remember everything you say or do, but they remember how you made them feel. And when we are fully present, we make people feel valued, respected, and understood. Friendships are built on trust, and trust begins with vulnerability. Yet, for many of us, vulnerability feels like a risk, one that we are hesitant to take. We fear rejection, judgment, or appearing weak. We wonder if we'll be met with indifference or if our openness will be taken for granted. So we hold back. We keep conversations light, we mask our struggles, and we wait for someone else to take the first step. But deep friendships do not form in waiting. They form in the moments when we allow ourselves to be truly seen. It takes courage to open up, to go beyond the surface, and to let someone into our world. But without that courage, relationships remain shallow. The friendships we long for, the ones built on trust, understanding, and real connection, do not happen by accident. They happen when we are willing to take the risk of being vulnerable. Someone has to be the first to share, to invite, to reach out. And when we take that first step, we give others permission to do the same. Vulnerability is not just about sharing our struggles. It is about showing up as our authentic selves. It means expressing our thoughts, our fears, and our emotions without filtering them for approval. It is easy to present a polished version of ourselves, to say what we think others want to hear, or to hide behind humor or sarcasm. But real friendships are not formed through perfection, they are formed through honesty. The people we feel closest to are not those who seem flawless, but those who allow us to see their imperfections, their uncertainties, their true selves. When we show up in this way, we create a space where others feel safe to do the same. Yet, vulnerability does not guarantee immediate connection. Some people may not respond the way we hope, some may not reciprocate our openness, but that is the nature of real connection. It cannot be forced, only invited. If someone is unwilling or unable to meet us at that level, it does not mean we were wrong to be vulnerable. It simply means they were not the right person for that depth of friendship. True connection is built with those who recognize and appreciate our openness, not those who dismiss or overlook it. One of the most powerful effects of vulnerability is that it fosters deeper trust. When we share something personal, whether a fear, a past mistake, or a difficult experience, we are offering a piece of ourselves. And when someone responds with empathy, that bond strengthens. It is in these moments that friendships move beyond the superficial and into something meaningful. We begin to feel truly known and accepted, not for the image we project, but for who we really are. But vulnerability is not just about sharing struggles. It is also about expressing joy, excitement, and gratitude. Many of us hesitate to be too enthusiastic about something we love for fear of being judged. We downplay our achievements so we don't seem boastful. But being vulnerable also means allowing ourselves to be seen in our happiness, in our passion, in the things that make us come alive. True friendship is not just about supporting each other in difficult times, but also about celebrating each other's joys without hesitation. Taking the first step toward vulnerability requires intentionality. It means reaching out even when we're unsure how we'll be received. It means initiating plans even at the risk of being turned down. It means checking in on someone, even if they haven't reached out first. It means admitting when we're struggling instead of pretending we have it all together. Each of these actions may feel small, but they are acts of courage. acts that build the foundation of deep, lasting relationships. At its core, vulnerability is an invitation to connect, to build trust, and to create something real. It is not always easy, and it does not always come with guarantees. But the alternative, keeping our walls up, waiting for someone else to make the first move, leaves us longing for the very connection we refuse to seek. Friendships require risk, the risk of reaching out, of being seen, of allowing ourselves to be known. But on the other side of that risk is the kind of friendship that makes life richer, fuller, and more meaningful. And friendship in adulthood isn't something we stumble upon. It's something we build with intention. It requires generosity, shared experiences, presence, and the courage to be vulnerable. Deep connections don't happen by chance. They happen when we show up, invest in others, and allow ourselves to be truly seen. The strongest friendships are formed not through perfect timing or luck, but through the daily choice to reach out, to give without expectation, and to create meaningful moments. When we prioritize connection, we don't just find friends. We build relationships that enrich our lives in ways we never imagined. So don't wait for connection to come to you. Be the one who reaches out. Be the one who listens deeply. Be the one who creates meaningful moments. Because in the end, the friendships we build define the richness of our lives.